The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com, 11 locations across New England.
What's up, everybody? Post-game pod coming to you after the Celtics rallied back from, I believe it's been a 17 down, yes, to take down the Milwaukee Bucks. 113-107 in Milwaukee. Celtics, for the second game in a row, spot a team a double-digit early lead, 16-2 they were down, and yet, as the Celtics often do, they sort of fight and claw their way back into this one. Heavy dose of Pritchard to keep them afloat in the first half, and then the rest of the crew takes the baton, and everybody had their part. All the starting five did something towards the second half of the game, whether it was just stepping up the defense. Giannis gets into it with Jaylen Brown a little bit. You got Tatum making plays all over the place after a quiet first half. You got Derek White getting an offensive rebound, leading to a kick out to Jayson Tatum for a big three along the way. Drew Holiday doing Drew Holiday things. A really satisfying win for the Celtics as they not only improved it to 9-2, but dropped the Bucks to 2-8. Coming up, we'll take you inside the locker room with you'll hear Jaylen Brown react to being back on the court for his first game, and you'll get plenty more reacts from our crew. But I want to start here. The Celtics, you knew you were going to get the Bucks' best shot in this one. It was clear out the gates. Like, Giannis was super motivated. That's a team that's been talking for a couple weeks now about they don't have an identity. Like, they just got rocked in New York the other night, and you could feel like how frustrated Giannis is. And it feels like it's going to get to a point where changes are going to start happening. And what is that going to be? That mean Doc Rivers' future is in jeopardy. I forget the number now, but something like 15-27 since taking over. It's in a bad spot there. Do you wave the white flag on having acquired Lillard and try to move him for younger pieces, or does the speculation start about Giannis? So Bucks know there's still some time here to right the ship a little bit. East is a mess, and yet even after delivering a haymaker in the first quarter and with the start of this game and building a 16-2 lead, the Celtics just kind of hung in there. And they were getting good shots. The Bucks were throwing in a bunch of junk. There was one play where they almost should have been a 24-second violation. Lillard threw up this pretty much touched three-pointer, and it dropped, and it just felt like they were the Bucks had that everything was going their way in that sequence. And so what did the Celtics do? Well, Pritchard gets them going. Monster second quarter, knocks down a bunch of threes, kind of keeps you in it, prevents that lead from getting to 20, 25 points. And you go into halftime down 11, and you just felt like they just needed to make one little charge, and the Celtics did it right out of the gates to start the third quarter, turned up the defensive intensity, and found a way to just take over this game. A couple telling sequences to me. So Jaylen Brown gets hit by Giannis in the first half, takes an elbow towards the head, and draws an offensive foul. They go down the other end of the court, and Giannis does this weird fake handshake thing and then slides it through his hair. Really kind of out of character for two players in a game to be having that sort of sequence. And you could tell Jaylen was not thrilled about him being a little cheeky in that moment. I forget what the number was. It was something like 65-23 after that point. Celtics absolutely dominated the game following that moment. And you could tell, Jaylen wasn't. What was the line that Jaylen had a couple of last season? We're not taking no mess. Celtics just weren't going to do that. This isn't laughing and funny. That the Bucks should have been far more engaged than those shenanigans. And he took it personally. Next thing you know, Jaylen's driving in a hard foul on Giannis that gets upgraded to a flagrant one in the second half. But it was clear they weren't gonna sit around and be pushed around, be made fun of, and I love that response. That's a championship level response, right there. A bunch of little plays along the way. Chief among them is Derek White getting this offensive rebound in a sea of bodies and feeding Tatum for a big 3-pointer. I believe that was later in the fourth, and Drew Holiday was everywhere. I go back to it. This is the luxury that even on a night when Derek and Drew might not have had big scoring nights, even White, who's been pretty good, 15 points, 6 of 12 shooting, did have 3 threes, 6 assists, six rebounds, but comes up with a steal, had the block shot on Giannis at one point. The Celtics, Eddie House had pointed this out on our broadcast. I think they didn't have any stalks at halftime, no blocks or steals, but they finish with 5 steals, 2 block shots in the second half. Just really elevated the level of play, and defensively, it's such a luxury when Tatum's struggling shooting the ball, Jaylen Brown shaking some rust. No one else besides Pritchard really has it going in the first half, and you're kind of able to hang around. And even though the Bucks are building a lead, you feel pretty good about the process, and you feel pretty good about that you're going to find a way to figure it out. And the Celtics did, and that's what separates teams. Like, again, that Brooklyn game, another bad, unsightly start. Kind of dust yourself off, stay with it, trust the process, and figure out how to get a W. And this was another example of that for the Celtics. I love that Tatum didn't have a great shooting night, and yet was aggressive going to the basket, hit threes when the Celtics really needed them along the way, especially in that while pulling away in the fourth quarter. But the free throw line stats are great. 13 of 15 at the stripe. One of those actually, ironically, was as part of their rally, they got a delay of game call on the Bucks, and Tatum missed the technical free throw, and it felt big in the moment, like, oh, I hope that doesn't come back to bite them. He was otherwise solid at the line. So Jaylen Brown, first game back from the hip flexor. Certainly there was a little bit of rust there, but credit to him. That's a tough matchup to come back to against the Bucks. And here's JB for stretches of the fourth quarter wanting to defend Giannis, and beyond even that dust up. It's that he wanted that matchup. This is why Jaylen deserves consideration for all defense. He's doing it on both ends. He's able to. He still got his points, 14 points on 4 of 13 shooting. But I just thought being willing to take on Giannis in that instance was telling of why Jaylen is so valuable to this team. Getting back a defender who can take on pretty much the most imposing presence on the other side and hold up well. And no one's going to be perfect against Giannis, but especially on a night when Giannis was so dominant early, like just trying to slow him down a little bit, just trying to make him work, just trying to make him a little bit more tired. JB deserves a lot of credit for that. Kata had some good minutes in there as well. Like I said, I kept thinking back to last year when the Celtics were coming off the back-to-back and got absolutely doors blown against the Bucks up there, and it was the first time like Bucks sort of were like, okay, maybe they could still tap into a little something even though they were up and down. This time around, Celtics were not going to let them have that. They took a team that's been limping and took it out to pasture, that limping deer. So a really satisfying win. Celtics, the games like are still like a repeat opponent coming up, but there's a little bit of intrigue on Tuesday night. We'll look ahead in a minute and get to that. But first, here's more from our postgame show.
Gear up for more in the year of 24 at the award-winning 24 Auto Group. This is our year, and we want to celebrate it with you. That's why we've got sales and service specials, giveaway contests and prizes, and fun family events happening all year long. So tune in every 24th of the month for the latest year of 24 news and offers. With 10 convenient locations across Massachusetts and Rhode Island and 8 top brands, we have the knack to save you more in the year of 24. Visit us in-store or online at 24autogroup.com.
Man, that was a fun game, huh? Celtics get the win 113-107. Tom Giles, Chris Forsberg, Eddie House. We're going to have Caleb Burton coming up in a bit, and Drew and Scal as well, Abby from Milwaukee. But the Celtics down by 11 at the half, trailed by as many as 17 points in this game. They come back, make the plays down the stretch, Eddie, able to get the win in Milwaukee.
Yeah, and my notes I showed you guys, share my first half notes. I was like 0 steals, 0 blocks, not playing well, but only down 11 points, no need to panic. And there was no need to panic. They came out in the third quarter, and they basically dominated. They held Milwaukee to 15 points in that quarter. And that's what it's all about. To me, it's about the defense. When they're locked in defensively, everything else seems to open up, and then it gets contagious. You get guys getting steals, you guys getting deflections, getting out in the open court, knocking down threes. offensive rebounds. It just bleeds into winning basketball.
This team is so good at starting to spot opponents 14 points at the start of games and then just seeing if they can make it up along the way. You felt great about where the Celtics were at. Like, everything they got offensively early felt like it was good. The Bucks were packing the paint, but you were getting open looks from the three-point line. But credit to guys like Peyton Pritchard for keeping you in it in that early stretch, and then you get to the second half, and everybody in that starting group had a hand in it, from Tatum's dominance to Derek White's hustle plays to Drew Holiday being everywhere. This is what it is. The Celtics are just deeper and more talented than most teams out there. And the Bucks, they thought they had a little life. They were coming back. They were clawing back. And then all of a sudden, the Celtics just extinguished them.
Yeah, I mean, Tatum with the 31 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. I mean, that's a crazy stat line right there. Eddie, down the stretch, I mean, he was the guy that wanted the ball. He knocked down the huge three, but then he was the one that wanted the ball down the stretch, knocking down the clutch free throws as well. And this had the feel. Like, that's Milwaukee, who's a 2-8 team now, but they're playing like what you would more expect them to play. You know, they're competitive in this one. They got the Celtics got their best shot there, and then they're able to pull out the win.
Yeah, the Bucks went up 17 in the first half, and they were up 11 at halftime. But again, Jayson Tatum came out in the second half, and his mindset was to be aggressive. He went 5 of 14 from the field, 23 points, but more importantly, he had 7 rebounds and 4 assists in that second half. I mean, when you get an engaged, I mean, he had 5 rebounds in the first half. When you get an engaged Jayson Tatum, it's always going to be around 8, 9 rebounds. And when he has more than that, then you know that he's really engaged. And maybe it was that Bobby Portis foul that they didn't call where he rolled his ankle that kind of woke him up and got him going, because it seemed like from that point on, it seemed like everybody kind of locked in a little in a different way defensively.
All right, let's, meanwhile, you had Drew Holiday, who had 15 points, also had a monster offensive rebound down the stretch there when he threw the ball back off the Bucks defender. He's standing by with Abby back in Milwaukee.
Drew, Joe Mazzulla understandably not happy with the defense in that first half. What improved in the second?
I think we just picked up the intensity, knowing that they came out and hit shots, not getting too ahead of ourselves or too down on ourselves, and getting back to Celtics basketball.
You told me the other night you take joy in impacting the game in whatever way is necessary. What did this take tonight?
Team effort. You know, they got a couple guys over there that can go for 30, 40 a night, and it's not easy doing it by yourself. So I think we did it collectively.
Fellow member of the Stock Exchange, Derek White, what level did he go to here?
D. White being him, man. We can't win without him. Everything that he brings to this team, everything that he brings to the game every single night, we need him.
I know there's still no hard feelings with the people here in Milwaukee, but you have your family here. How nice is it to get this win in this building?
It's nice. We got blown out twice last year, so getting this win here with my family in the building is awesome.
Drew, thank you. Congrats.
All right, let's bring in Drew and Scal now in Milwaukee. And Scal, I mean, what changed in the second half to you for the Celtics when they didn't have any blocks, any steals, and then they're making deflections, making the right plays down the stretch? What really changed in your eyes?
Yeah, they own their space, getting into Milwaukee, and I think like Milwaukee sort of they're like a team that's really hurting right now from this standpoint. They came out in the first half, they had everything going, they were the aggressor, and then they were just on their heels. And give the Celtics credit for that. They're the ones getting up into their airspace, making their execution really difficult.
Drew, how much fun did you have also? You had this battle within the battle, Jaylen Brown and Giannis going back and forth there, and even the play late in the game where Jaylen just kind of pulled the chair on him. But how much fun was that battle within it?
It's always a good time when the Celtics play Giannis. It feels like every time the Celtics play the Bucks, another Celtic has beef with Giannis. It's like Horford in the playoffs a couple of years ago, and now Jaylen. But that seemed like it was all, good-natured and fun. Giannis is just a force of nature. I mean, we're a mile away from the court here, as you can tell, but you can still tell just being in the building, like, he is incredible to watch. And there are certain times where you're thinking, what are you supposed to do? But we were talking about this after the game. I just feel like Dame and Giannis are a bad blend because Dame wants to play slow, get into his action. Even when he is off the ball, he's trying to get himself free and then work the shot clock. Whereas with Giannis, I feel like he's at his best when they're playing fast. I mean, they were doing that in the first half, and then they just got slowed down. But like Scal said, that a lot of credit goes to the Celtics for making them do that.
Scal, Pritchard was great in the first half. Again, are we surprised? Is this just what we've come to expect now, that he's going to give you a little something every night?
Well, the only thing I'm surprised is he hasn't carried it over to the second half. Like, that's like Pritchard is a bona fide baller. So I look at it like, guys, you can't take him away. You can't take away his three. You can't take away his drive. Like, he's becoming a better passer. It's just a matter of can he be consistent with it. But he's starting to grow into like this whole 6-man thing. I kind of started it tongue in cheek, but it's like it's just a real thing, and he believes that he can go out there and go get 25 a night, 30 on a given night. So we'll see how it continues. But Pritchard's got to find ways to impact the game offensively in the second half.
Peyton Pritchard is a spark plug, guys. Like when the Celtics came out a little lethargic, Peyton Pritchard, he came out and did what he always does, which is all 82 games of the season, he's coming ready to play. And you said it, Scal. I mean, the Celtics would have been down 25 if he didn't play like he did in the first half.
We would have lost this game if Pritchard didn't have that first half. Because we would have been down too much. But because he made those shots and he kept it close, then we can turn our defense on. It's hard to bail, like kind of pull yourself out of a 20-point deficit. But Pritchard's shooting is the reason why we end up winning this game.
And that's one of the things I want to talk about is the kind of the slow starts. It's back-to-back games when we got slow starts, and we got to figure out a way to get that going. But I do love the way that we bounce back, especially that third quarter. Holding them to 15 points, that's big time. And two of their starters not scoring in the second half. Brooks Lopez didn't get it. He didn't get any money in the second half, and neither did Taurean Prince. And I think that's where this team has to really hang their hat and realize that this is their identity, because I feel like it's a trickle-down effect. Once Derek White got that shot, he blocked that shot, then there's a deflection, then it's a steal, and then now we're out in transition. Then we get an offensive rebound, and then the basket opens up. We start knocking down threes. So I think we, as a team, and you could tell me, Scal, a little better. You're on the court. You've seen it live and direct. I think that if we lean into that a little bit harder, I think that this team will be extremely hard to beat in a 7-game series, and I don't care who they play.
Yeah, we don't have any identity right now in the first quarter. I don't know, we had the Jayson Tatum is going to be aggressive. They've been blitzing him and doing different things, but yeah, we got to find our identity. Last year at times it was Jaylen Brown in the first quarter. This year it's been Jayson Tatum in the first quarter. But one way or another, you got to find your identity. I know you're going to say it should be found on the defensive end, but for whatever reason, we're kind of just limping into these starts. But they figure a way. They're pretty talented. They can bail themselves out of it, but that's not a road you want to go down.
Celtics' identity in the first half is Peyton Pritchard is the best player on the planet. How about Pistol P going deer hunting today in Milwaukee? I mean, seriously, it was amazing.
I mean, it's just Scal laughing. Like, he hits his fourth three, his fifth three, and it's like, there's nothing to analyze here, just laugh.
How come you didn't use that? How come you didn't use that?
I mean,
Pistol P is
Pistol P going deer hunting.
That would have been good.
It's like when you're in an argument and you think of a really good comeback after the fact. Dang it. That's all right. Next time the Celtics play Milwaukee.
Celtics Talk is presented by 24 Auto Group, where now through the end of the year, they are doubling your down payment at all 11 locations throughout Southern New England. Go to 24autogroup.com for more info.
Jaylen, how did the hip feel being back?
I felt better today. Felt better physically. Not all the way there yet, but was able to, throw my weight around and explode a little bit better, so I felt better today. But we getting here. It's a long journey, long season. Taking care of your body is important.
Giannis hit you with the offensive foul, and then he fake shook your hand and pulled it back. Are you laughing at that? Do you think it's funny, or does that kind of piss you off?
Giannis is a child. I'm just focused on helping my team get a win, and that's what we did tonight.
Did you have that on your mind later when you gave the hard foul in the fourth quarter?
Nah, just playing basketball.
And then you guys got down 16-2 for the second straight game. What went into withstanding that and staying solid from that?
Just staying poised. They came out, hit some tough baskets to start, a lot of threes. We weathered the storm and walked them down.
When did you realize you'd be good to go today? Was it this morning, or did you know earlier?
Last night, I try not to miss too many games. My presence out there for my team on both offense and defense is important. This is a big win on the road that we needed, so I know I wanted to make myself available today. And I knew it would be a challenge on both sides of the ball, physically. And we took their best punch tonight. They came out. Giannis had an incredible game. Their team had shot the ball well, and we still figured out a win. So I'm glad this was my return game.
Was there a moment that you aggravated the hip flexor?
Today?
No, before you went out.
I'm not sure. It's been bothering me since training camp. I've been playing through it. Didn't really get no better while I was playing, so we decided it was best to get a little bit of rest to get off it, and I think that did me well because today I felt a little bit more of that burst. I felt a little bit stronger physically and able to go both directions than I felt over the last couple of days, so something good to build on.
And then the challenge of guarding Dame.
Yeah, I mean, Dame's a motherfucker. Like, he's extremely gifted, can go drive both ways, can shoot the ball from wherever. So me just trying to stay as close as possible without fouling him, touching him, picking him up full court, trying to wear on him. That was my assignment tonight, and that was my focus.
You guys struggled early. Peyton comes in and has a big first half. How important has it been for you guys that kind of no matter what's going on with the team, he's able to come in and bring you some energy in a lot of these times?
Yeah, Peyton's been excellent this year. I think he's played as good as anybody, you know, out there. And the way he's been shooting the ball, the way he's been making plays for our team has been incredible, you know. And his growth has been great to watch. You know, Peyton has been making those steps, and he's a big-time player. Like any other team, I think Peyton is a guy that can contribute heavily offensively, just because of his ability to make plays. So for him to be able to weather the storm and, you know, be ready when his name is called on this team is big time for us.
Did you ask for the Dame assignment?
Of course, every game, you know, and then even just challenging myself as I'm getting back into form, you know, taking that on, even coming off injury, just mentally, just being in that zone, to do whatever it takes to win, you know, affecting the game in different ways or whatever it takes just to add to winning. That's what it's about through the length of the season.
Thank you, Jaylen.
Jayson, how's your ankle?
It's cool. I was able to play through it. A little sore. Probably be a little sore tomorrow.
And you've had a couple technicals, rightfully so. Today, you really could have gotten one because you didn't get the call. How did you kind of keep your composure and just walk back to the bench and keep your head in the game and not kind of get upset about the no call?
I mean, coaches kind of calmed me down. It's a tough situation, right? Like, you know, I get my fair share of texts throughout the season, rightfully so, unrightfully so. But it's certain calls I just feel like you can't miss, right? Your job is protect the guys on the court, protect the shooter. That's something I could have been out for 6 weeks or whatever. So for it to be a no call, let alone they didn't get to review it or look at it, right, then, you know, I lose my shit, cut somebody out, and then I get a tech. And it's like a double whammy. So, I mean, that shit is frustrating when all you get is sorry, we missed it. You know, ankle swollen, you got to figure it out. So, yeah, I definitely was frustrated.
Had a huge first half for you guys. Just what do you enjoy the most about playing with Peyton?
Supreme confidence. And, you know, me and Peyton in the same draft class. Same high school class. I've been playing against P since, you know, he was like 14. He's always had the utmost confidence every time he stepped on the floor. And he really kind of like kept us in the game in that first half. And, you know, we need everybody on this team. And tonight, you know, he kept us in the game for, you know, us to bring it home in the second half.
Just Dame hits that one-legged three to beat the shot clock if you guys had already gotten a stop and then they got the rebound. How do you guys keep your poise and not just kind of, oh, man, it's their night? Like, they're desperate. They're 2-8. I mean. Yeah.
It's just like, man, it's the NBA. Sometimes guys miss the easy ones and then they make the most difficult shots. And, you know, it was so much time left in the game. You know, at that moment it was tough. We was flying around getting deflections and he hit a runner, one leg, you know, three-pointer. But, you know, just he plays so much basketball knowing that you got to stay the course and there's a lot of game left.
Why did you decide to wear the Marquette shoes in the game tonight?
Geography. Yeah. When we play Detroit, I wear the Michigan shoes. You know, Jordan Brand, it's like 11 schools maybe, I think, sponsored by Brand Jordan. And they all got their own colorway of the Tatum threes. And, you know, I see a lot of the guys and girls wearing them in their games and practices that just started. So it's kind of my way to, like, you know, show love and support. Obviously, Marquette being right downtown in Milwaukee. So it's my time to wear them.
What does having Jaylen back do for you guys?
I mean, we're just so much better when we are healthy. Obviously, we still waiting on KP, but having JB out there, on the defensive end, right? The things that he brings in. Obviously, he's a threat on offense. Another playmaker, another guy that can handle the ball and make plays. So it just makes us tougher to guard when he's out there, on the floor.
All right, up next, Celtics and Hawks. We just saw this matchup last week. Celtics dominated that game. But now it is the NBA Cup. Celtics get to host a group play game at the Garden. I'm excited because not only are the courts, I thought last year's courts were cool, but this year's even better. They actually got the Celtics a parquet court this year, bringing back the tradition. And but it's really sharp looking court. The photos that we saw of them demoing the court looked really cool, and I think it's gonna pop. Can't wait to see actually what it looks like when the guys are out there. It was fun last year. I was probably as skeptical as anyone about how these NBA Cup games would go. But when you're flipping through and you see the colored court and the game means a little something more. We all remember the point differential thing last year, and Celtics having to run up the score against the Bulls just to make the next round, and so it's going to be fun. I think there's going to be a little extra energy in that building, even if it's not the best matchup against the Hawks, and again, a repeat opponent that you already dominated. But I think there's a chance here for the Celtics to sort of, again, there's going to be some extra eyeballs on these games, especially as we get closer to when it shifts to Vegas and all that. But just in general, I think it's an opportunity for any team in the NBA. We saw it even with Indy last year. Indy sort of like announced itself as like a legitimate threat in the Eastern Conference during that tournament, and with the way they bounced the Celtics out of there. And so while the Celtics winning the NBA Cup is not even in the top 5 of the priorities this season, I mean, there's only one priority, so I guess maybe it could be 2, but like it's not on the to-do list. I do think they're going to be willing to put some energy into these games, and for a couple reasons. One, to remind the NBA, hey, last year wasn't a fluke. The Celtics want to run it back and win another championship this year, and they want the league to know that it's not going to be easy to stop them from doing it. But two, a bunch of the guys, like when you think about when Cornette and Tillman signed for minimum contracts, there could have been other offers out there for them. I know at least for Luke, there probably could have been better money out there. And yet they wanted to be here to be part of a championship team, to chase that other title, to be part of something historic. And while it might sound silly, getting, I think it was $50,000 or whatever goes to the winner of this tournament, it's not inconsequential for end-of-the-bench guys. So you get all these guys at the top 8 that have inked extensions over $1 billion worth of extensions. So Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis, Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard. They don't need the money. But the Luke Cornettes and Xavier Tillmans of the world could benefit if the team found a little motivation in this. And so I don't think it's a big driver, but I think the Celtics will know that this is a chance that these games mean a little something extra. They give a little extra juice to this time of year. So we'll have that game here for you on NBC Sports Boston. Go like, subscribe, check us out on the YouTube page. We'll see you on Tuesday night for the NBA Cup.